Hi, I'm Emma Green, and this is Marketing Monologues. And today we are joined by Michael Wolf. So, welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Emma. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So, you come from a very creative background. So, the list is endless. We have actor, singer, magician,
pianist, very modest man.
Very modest. So, that kind of background kind of seems to seamlessly blend into videography. So is that kind of how you came about videography?
Yeah, so more or less. I think all of it kind of blended together in storytelling and entertainment.
Yes.
You could make a point about the storytelling through song or music or certainly the acting side of things. So it was right before the videography part of it, or the media production side of things. We were in cinema. My business partner at the moment was my kind of chief cinematographer at the time. So we did, I think on the biggest claim to fame, I think on a budget of about £7,500, we managed to make a feature film, 3 shorts, and a web series.
Okay.
And it was all with the point of storytelling. And as we were going through, because at the time we wanted to offer it to other people, we wanted to do some show reels for actors, but we noticed simply the power of storytelling that could actually help businesses.
Yes.
And it wasn't until I think we hadn't even started trading properly when we did a little video for a company called Regis. They do commercial real estate, and they wanted something to cover the offices in Liverpool. And a lot of the chatter that we were hearing is like, "Wow, it's tables and chairs." Like, but it's the story of it. Like, people have tables and chairs at home.
Yeah,
it's the community, it's the location, it's the people around the other offices. So I think when we by accident moved into the commercial media production, and it just kind of stuck because we could then tell the stories of the people who have said businesses.
Yeah. Did you find the transition kind of behind the camera, or sorry, in front of the camera to then behind the camera easy?
I think because from my theatre background, I'd always split it a little bit between acting and directing.
Okay.
I mean, I don't fancy myself Christopher Nolan or anything, but when it came to the media side, I think I just took more the strategy.
Yes.
Behind so effectively the directing, if you will, of corporate videos, and the directing of the people. But basically, how do I get the stories out of it? So I worked a lot more. I mean, on location, it was Nadia, my business partner, who run with these are the shots that we need, and then in the editing suite, I stood by her to go, this is how we tell the story, this is how it's more concise, this is how we represent it better. So it's not that I find it difficult, just slightly different to what I was doing, but fairly comfortable with that.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's storytelling, isn't it, which is your strength. So you do a lot of corporate videos. You work with so many businesses in and around, of course, city region. So what kind of have you found the challenges are, or the benefits? Because, like I say, you're a natural storyteller. So is there some businesses you work with that maybe struggle with that, or rely on you, for example, for direction?
I think prior to sort of deciding to work with us, you said, what's kind of tricky about it is a lot of businesses still don't know the benefits of video. And that's not to say that they don't understand there is a benefit to one, but we've moved from, well, if a business wants a video, it tends to be a commercial, but that has a negative connotation, back to the, have you been in an accident? It wasn't your fault kind of thing. So moving into this new idea of the corporate stuff that is a lot more, tell me the different stories of, you have departments, you have sectors, you have all that. So the trickiest part was actually the educational piece to begin with.
Yeah.
And then once people understand the value of it, I think probably the most tricky part of all is to see themselves on screen without freezing completely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Which, funnily enough, I mean, I got, during my LIPA years, we got so many masterclasses with so many wonderful actors. But I always remember Bill Nye was coming, not the science guy, the actual actor. And towards the end of his talk, they played a little clip of his films. He stood up and walked off. He's to this day cannot bear to see himself.
Okay.
So it's not at all something that is foreign. Like, even I'd say I'm a decent actor. I wouldn't say that. Again, I'm Scorsese. Well, that's the director, but I
Director.
get the point.
We'll go with Leonardo.
I'm not Brando. But what I mean to say is that even now, as I sit in front of a camera, there's a moment of adjustment. But the antidote to that is just, weirdly, it isn't bravery, it's boredom. You do 50 takes and your brain goes, well, I'm kind of tired of being nervous. Should we try it with a smile? And then you kind of start relaxing into it. So I think volume more than anything. Sorry, that was a very long-winded answer. But
No, it's okay. I was going to ask as well, because there seems to be a bit of a shift now as well, where you have the corporate videos, people are becoming more of the face of the company rather than sitting behind a brand and everything else, or a building or an office space. It is more the people, and you tell the story of you've been here however long. And so do you find that it is becoming much more people focused?
Oh God, yeah. And I think it's not that it's something groundbreaking. We've had this from, I mean, for ages it was Richard Branson and then Virgin on the back of it. Yeah. And you have a lot of examples. And nowadays it's more than ever. You have Gary Vee, Daniel Priestley, Alex Hormozy, Grant Cardone, that are the faces of their own brands. Their companies are massive. They have so many people working behind them. But you identify with the people first.
Yes.
And I mean, there's a psychological thing here. We tend to buy from people we trust, people we like, people that look like us, people we are attracted to. So the more of that actually can be shown, the better. And in smaller corporate organizations, it's why you? Because, not that services necessarily are commoditized, but if you take a legal company, for example, you do corporate law, family law, and the law is the same. Like the product is the same. It's not your take on it. It's, what was it so important to you? How are you different in the service that you provide? Same goes for us. We provide media services, but depending on the cameras that we buy, that's mostly of the quality. The rest is the service behind it. So when you have the people and what their visions is, what their goals are, what they bring to the table, I mean, if it's a family lawyer and they shout at you, then you probably don't want to go to them with your problem. So it's identifying with the people first and then the brand second to that. Equally, bigger companies where the brand is already prevalent, like Rolls-Royce probably wouldn't put a face in front of it because the brand speaks for itself.
Yes.
The Ritz probably doesn't need a spokesperson. They might do a collaboration, sure, but in corporate organizations, the people are the most important, I think.
Yeah. So we'll talk very briefly about AI, just because we can't have a conversation in any world where we don't talk about AI right now. So obviously we've used AI for captions, generating captions and things, so it can save us time and reduce those boring jobs that we don't like to do always. But how do you think it's changing or influencing videography?
I think twofold answer on that.
Yeah.
Interestingly, most of the conversations that I have around AI tend to be with, it's not good enough for X. But all you have to do is add this little word at the end that yet. It's not good enough yet. Now, I tend to, and probably a bit of context would be helpful for my answer, I tend to divide video production for the corporate world in two, creative and, corporate. So the creative thing, like if Coca-Cola does its commercial with, flying birds that transform into beasts or whatever, because it's tropical, whatever the current trend is, I think AI will replace that first, because you don't need it to be real. You need to evoke emotion, a feeling. And as long as you know how to prompt it. I mean, look, if we had this conversation a week ago, my answer probably will be slightly different, but Sora 2 just got launched. I don't know if you've seen, but it is almost indistinguishable from real recorded media.
Oh, okay.
Because before, you kind of hear it in the voice a little bit, and the lighting's not quite there. I mean, before that, it was like 17 fingers or whatever, and then it became to this kind of, I can kind of see it. My nan could be fooled. My mum would think twice.
Yeah.
With Sora, I have struggled now to make the difference.
So to anybody with an untrained eye, it's just got
it's going to be indistinguishable. And I think what it will do is those creative ideas, even ones including humans, it will probably take that over just because it's cheaper, quicker, and simpler. Where I think we and people in corporate media are a little bit more safe, at least for the time being, is my focus is the people in the company.
Yeah.
Which means that the more real they look, the more people will trust them. Sure, there is obviously a way to make AI agents that look like you at the moment.
Yes.
Very, very convincingly. But that moment of a thought of an there's a couple more generations of AI before that becomes replicated. And even then becomes the question of, well, I want to go and speak to the real person. So if this does not match that,
yes.
like if you have someone who's incredibly confident, go and speak to them for the first time, and go, well, really, you feel a bit cheated. So you want that authenticity and organicness. And I think AI is brilliant for support. I think it's brilliant for, as you rightfully put it, for captions. A lot of it is like, well, it makes spelling mistakes. For now.
Yeah.
It will get better.
Yeah,
it has to. And every next iteration will be quicker than the previous one because it learns from itself, right?
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, I think it's a good companion. I think it will certainly shift some... it would shift the scales of video production and maybe even film production.
Yeah.
But then for the film production side, I mean, I think it's quite important to be able to discern why people watch films.
Yeah.
Because it might be, yes, it's a great story, but Anthony Hopkins is not in it.
Yeah.
And then do we want AI Anthony Hopkins? Maybe, maybe not. We'll get to that. It might be that they decide to make a difference between, human film will be X much, but AI films will be a lot more and a lot cheaper. I don't know what the economics of that will be yet, but we're very quickly approaching a change in that as well.
Yeah, because I think visually you can kind of utilize AI, but like you said, it's at the end of the day, films are storytelling. So can AI tell a story, and can it tell the story that audiences want to hear or learn about or know? And then the other one with that is kind of like social media is obviously blown up. It's massive. But with that, there's a lot of short form videos, a lot of like 2-minute clips or teasers, as it were. So do you have you seen a lot more of that within your business?
God, yeah. I think I feel like everything that you might ask me, I'll go, it's a twofold answer. Yes. So everyone and their mum is going to tell you that people's attention has never been shorter.
Yeah.
The attention span. But I also think that we have to look at that in one of two ways. It means that if I need to learn about a company and my only option is a 25-minute video, I'll probably not watch it.
Yeah.
Equally, if you go on YouTube and I go, well, I don't want to watch this 2.5-hour film, so I'll go on YouTube and watch this 10-minute compilation of my favorite moments from, I don't know, an old TV show. But then there's the next compilation of that and the next compilation. You ended up binging 4 hours of that.
Yeah.
I think it's that our patience for gratitude or patience for dopamine patience for the quick dose of dopamine is smaller.
Yeah.
So, for example, many marketeers say, and this is not so much of a brag from us, it's just the thing to illustrate. Many companies and marketers will now say, well, if you have a social media reel that's like longer than 30 seconds, then it's pointless. No one's going to watch it. It's too long or whatever. We have we have a client who's a criminal defense lawyer. I don't want to do a shameless plug, but their second ever reel that they posted yesterday morning is currently comfortably sitting at 58,000 views.
Okay, yeah.
And it's a minute long. And it's their second ever reel, so he's not like a professional actor.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is on a thing that isn't, vastly interesting, but it is helpful. It's valuable.
Yes.
So I think Hormozy talks about this, and I think Gary Vee touches slightly upon it, is it's not seconds of value, it's value per second. As long as my interest keeps being fed, as long as I keep getting this dopamine, then I'm going to just keep watching. If it's 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 3 hours, 3 hours. I mean, a great example of this, I don't know if you know Chris Williamson, is an absolutely incredible podcast, my favorite podcaster, I think. A lot of his episodes are like 3.5 hours long.
Yeah,
and
they're really long for
hundreds of thousands of views. So people do look at them, but equally then he cuts it down, because the only thing is that we prefer to watch the type of content that we've already seen. So if I am consuming reels, it's much less likely for me to watch long form, and vice versa. If I watch long form, that doesn't mean I'm going to start watching short form. So I think keeping those things in mind. I mean, every unit, and this is again Hormozy's kind of theory, every piece of content or unit of content needs to have a hook, as in why should I watch this?
Yes.
And then it's why should I retain my attention for it? And then do I get rewarded at the end? Do I get to know what's happening? And longer piece of content is just a lot of these units struck together.
Yes.
Which is why I have a lot of steps, lists, stories, just a longer way to keep that attention. So whilst attention is going down, and whilst businesses absolutely have to go, and companies and corporates absolutely have to go in the short form production, it is a matter of value rather than how quickly it is. If it's 10 seconds of fluff, it will be unwatchable in comparison to 5 minutes of pure value. So,
do you find it's different in different industries as well? Certain businesses or corporations could get away with a long form where people will be more invested. Depending on the content or maybe the story or information that you're sharing versus shorts and reels?
I think it matters to your audience. I think it depends where your audience is, because to give the same example, now here's a criminal defense lawyer, so a lot of the information that they're going to be putting out is things that concern literally everyone. What if you get stopped because of speeding? What if police arrive at your home, or whatever the case is, which is more of a B2C, business to consumer kind of thing. So a lot more people would be interested in that. Whereas if you talk about corporate or litigation, you can't really, I know I'm keeping in law, but any professional services for that matter, you can't really give a comprehensive case study of a litigation case that you've had in 30 seconds. It would never be the case. So it has to be something that's longer, but also for the audience that is interested in something like that. So meet your audience where it is. Now, we're going to renew our own content strategy. So we had very comprehensive content strategy last year for 6 months. We just didn't have capacity, but we've tripled in team size since then. So we do have capacity now. But at the time we were posting, I think 94 times a week across all platforms. There was a lot of it, but we tested what kind of content goes well, what kind of people like what. And I think the moment you start, especially with short form, the moment you start chasing the vanity metrics, you're dead in the water.
Yes.
Because you can reverse engineer a lot of them. You want more likes, have fuzzy bunnies. You want more comments, make controversial topics. You have things that are relevant to either myself or people I know, then that increases saves and shares.
Yes.
Like everything can be reverse engineered, but the point here is effectively, if you're only chasing that, then you're chasing the wrong thing. If you're a litigation practice and you have 7.5 million views, those are not all potential customers.
No,
obviously
exactly.
not. So that balance between, having, say, 500 people who consistently watch all of your stuff on the platform that your audience is, tends to be a very good position to be in.
Yeah. I suppose it's the same as we can all look at the impression figures and go, oh, that's brilliant, we've hit thousands of thousands. But if your click-through rate or your engagement rate is very poor, then
what does it matter?
It doesn't matter, because it's just awareness, but it's not necessarily awareness of the right thing, and it's hard to gauge whether it's been a success or not, because you don't know anyone's opinion because they've not engaged with it, they've just watched it. And it's kind of the same with different trends and upcoming. There's obviously a lot of businesses now are very concerned of net to carbon zero and things like that. So do you find some of the messaging is changing within the corporate videos that you do, where maybe some businesses want to talk about sustainability, or?
It depends. So, twofold answer. I think, so when we started out, when I was talking about the educational element of corporates and the people that don't tend to be aware of certain things, a lot of times when I'm either in networking events or in conversation with people who've never had a comprehensive media strategy, the first question tends to be, so it's like, what, like promotional videos? But it could be promotional, could be educational, could be building of credibility, could be a million things. But if you, because of the way that we work, because of the model that we have, the media strategy very much depends on what you want to achieve. So for a lot of companies, for example, that either tender with public sector, or a lot of companies that want to attract high value partners, or want to attract particular people of a particular caliber, then yes, talking about net zero, what we would call what we would call an ESG video, is massively helpful because it doesn't talk about the offer, it doesn't talk about what you do and who you help. It solely talks about the practices that you have around environmental friendliness, effectively. So, would a construction company want to focus on that? 100%. Development company, probably. Accountants,
not so much.
Probably not so much.
Yeah.
So it would depend on what it needs to achieve. I always go with this. It's never, especially with the clients that we work with, my question is never, so what video do you want? How would you know? And not to say that the people are stupid or they're not what they want, but if we focus on what do you actually want to achieve? Well, I want to be perceived as an authority figure. Great. So let's ignore the ESG for the moment. There's other things that are actually going to build that a lot more. Whereas companies that, a lot of times, especially public sector tenderings, like how are you helping the environment? A video like this is massively helpful.
Yeah.
Depends on the strategy, in short.
So you also run a hybrid model, I understand it all. So talk us a bit through that.
How long do we have? So I think as an entrepreneur, my biggest job is solve problems.
Yes.
And the question that we have within the team as well is, what are we solving for? Not how are we going to get there, not what are your ideas, what are we solving for? So in the beginning, we were just a video production company. So do you want a video? And if so, how many? And then we figured out I figured out something that is blatantly obvious. No one in the history of the universe has ever wanted a video. They've wanted the results of a video.
Yes.
And that should suggest that more videos, more results, but also more videos, more expensive. So that's a problem for a lot of companies because they don't have, hundreds of thousands, nor can they hire an entire internal media team. And we were at the time obviously trying to also figure out how we can be, on a commercial level, how we can be paid monthly. And the problem was, what are we solving for? If I want people to pay me monthly, then I need to provide value monthly.
Yeah.
And I can't really go and shoot to them because that's basically hiring an internal media team. It's too expensive. Well, what else as a service can provide value? Probably editing. Okay, well, we can edit monthly, can't we? But what if they send us stuff that isn't good? Then it doesn't matter how much we try to polish it, it still look bad.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if we could train them how to do it, then we dispense with that. They get upskilled. So within all of these conversations, the model that effectively we can, as an agency, we'll still go in, we'll still look at the short and long-term goals, where they're going this year, what about after that? What about their bottlenecks? Are they struggling more to hire talent or find customers? And then we'll split the media strategy in two.
Yeah.
We'll handle the production of the things that data suggests need to be professionally filmed, like your brand video, like your sector-specific video, your testimonials, etc. But we'll then curate equipment for that company, train them how to use it, purchase equipment, obviously, train them how to use it, and then handle all the editing. So even on the lower end of our clients, smallest companies, they still tend to produce, on average, between 150 and 200 pieces of content for the year. Majority of that produced in-house for a fraction of the cost it would have been than to get us in as a full team to shoot every month. They get upskilled. We get monthly retained that way. And our promise to the companies, because I'm really, really adamant about this, if a company wants us to, we can become obsolete within 3 years. But the end of that 3 years for them to have the means to do everything internally, if they want to.
Yeah.
Of course.
Do you think with the growth of video marketing that there are a lot more companies now that have more in-house technology or have the skills, or is there a lot of businesses still, it's not maybe priority and they're still looking out?
I think it's the latter. And not because they're not aware of the need of it, but because you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
So I see a lot of companies that understand the value of marketing, but what that means is they've hired a marketing executive that's supposed to do email campaigns and paid advertising and take videos and take photos and write captions and do Instagram and post. And I think that's overwhelming. And in the beginning, certainly help with that, sure. Yeah. But even bigger companies, there's a massive accountancy practice in the Northwest. I'm not going to name them for a reason, obviously. But they have one person that is supposed to be their media guy. Now, he shoots fairly well. Yeah. But he shoots a lot. And editing takes ages.
Yes.
And his lighting, it's not that it's not good or not bad, but he's a single person. If he was to take care of professional lighting, professional sound, and professional recording, and professional editing, there's not enough hours in the day.
No.
So I assume the decision was made of, we need more videos, let's hire a guy, because no one would ever say, we need more videos, let's spend £250,000
team.
to
Yes.
hire a team.
Yeah.
So I think there's still a big need for people like us.
Yeah.
I don't think not so much on the ad hoc basis, although a lot of companies would deliberate that they'll have a board meeting and go, we should have a video on something, hire a supplier, come in, completely different to all the stuff that we've done before, and then nothing for the next 6 months. So I think media, like everything else, like you'd never do a marketing of, let's post this week and wait 7.5 months. You'd never do that because it's an ongoing process, and media should be like that. So we've tried to, for lack of a better term, we've tried to McDonald's media, where it's just churning out. Because if you want to grow and if you want your name to be out there a lot more, then you need to have the data.
Yes.
But to have the data means you need the volume, and the volume obviously costs a lot of money, hence why we wanted to create something where on an ongoing basis we know we can educate. I mean, my goal essentially, I don't think it's very attainable, but it's still a North Star, so I'm going to keep
It's
aiming
a goal.
at it.
It can
I hope,
become
but I want to make media accessible for everyone in the corporate world, because everyone needs it. There's not a single company that wouldn't benefit from more people knowing about them.
Yeah.
And finding ways to, I mean, we'll see what's happening in the next couple of years because we've got a very comprehensive plan, but finding ways to have a version for everyone at all stages to be able to have that consistent output, I think it's a good enough goal to follow.
Yeah. Do you think as well there's, like you've said, you've worked with some really, really large organisations and then obviously some SMEs and smaller businesses. Do you find the videos are different, the type of videos are different, but also the engagement maybe? Because I think with a smaller company, you kind of see the faces and go, well, that's the owner and these are the 5 people within their team. They're more approachable, with regards to then a massive company where you think, I won't know who to contact, I won't know where to start.
I think the strategy needs to be, the type of videos is the same, I think, but the strategy behind it needs to be different. So I'll give you an example, again, actually a good example on the law side. That company with the very high-performing reel at the moment, it's the owner on it. And I think they're, as you rightfully put it, I think they're about 10 people or so in the company. And yes, everyone looks very approachable and you know who these are. If you take something like any of the bigger ones like Waitman's or Ward Hathaway or any other, but take any one of them, they probably have 7 or 8 offices around the country.
Yes.
And then you disseminate. So you speak about corporate law, for example. If that smaller company was to do a corporate law video, probably be the same people just talking about the different offering. Whereas if a massive company wants to talk about their corporate law offering, they probably want to go office by office.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, well, in this office, corporate law is handled by these people. And you're probably going to have an interview with the head of corporate law as a whole, and then the type of people that I'm going to meet as I come in.
Yeah.
So to keep it approachable, you can never speak, if it's a multi, deca-hepta £1 million company, then having a single video with a big CEO going, we're very open, you're never going to come and speak to him. No. But
he's hidden behind about 5 different teams and PAs and everyone else.
But that's kind of the important part, especially as the rise of, to bring it back to the AI side of things, we don't know who to trust anymore. So I'd prefer to speak to a person. I mean, it's one of the reasons why the Amazon shops, the one that you kind of walk in and walk out, are starting to close down. There's absolutely no human touch there.
No.
And we need that because we feel the need to be comforted. It's just a human thing.
Yeah, human element.
Especially, I mean, look, in the corporate world, especially the ones that are B2B, it's not something that, today I'm going to go speak to a litigation solicitor. It's usually when you are in...
You need to speak to...
When you need to speak to them. So I think in bigger organizations, the type is the same. The strategy is different. They need to do a lot more.
Yeah.
And when it comes to engagement, it really depends. I've seen pieces of media by organizations above 200 million turnover that do not perform well at all because it just feels like a robot created it.
Yeah.
Like there's no soul behind it. There's no story behind it.
Yeah.
And that's why we tend to engage with smaller companies better, because you can actually trust them more.
Yeah.
So you speak, I mean, and again, part of that happens in cinema as well. You have a lot of archetypes in cinema.
Yes.
In business, you still have the same archetypes, as in who's the leading voice of this department, who's the leading voice of the company. And even if you take, this is my biggest pet peeve, but testimonials video, the people who have figured out that it's good, majority of them have done it wrongly, and that's not because I say so, it's just the story is lacking. A lot of them are, these guys are great. Well, you would say that, you're in front of camera.
Yes.
Like, why would I, but if you say, well, I couldn't sleep at night, and then I saw these guys and I had concerns, they were quite expensive, but I decided to trust them because of X, Y, and Z, and this is what my experience was. And now internally I feel this way, I sleep better. But now you've told me a story.
That's the story.
Right.
Yes.
And now I can identify with different parts of that story rather than just, these guys are great. All right.
Why they're great, yeah.
Absolutely.
What was the difference?
Correct.
Yeah.
And especially if you're going to be in higher ticket sales or service-based businesses where the service costs a lot of money,
Yeah.
having other people disperse your worries is much easier than the company doing so. Like I can tell you, yes, it's very expensive, but if someone who's already gone through it and go, yes, no, I also thought it was very expensive and I had to take a loan for it, but it changed my life, completely different.
Yeah.
And again, point about value, if I had a miracle drug that cures all illnesses, but it costs 100,000, everyone's going to come up with 100,000.
Yeah.
There was a fantastic entrepreneur, last point on this, who, I can't remember who it was, but he would go in front of a class and say, if I ask you, what is the chance of all of you making $1 million in the next year?
Yeah.
They were like, well, 3%, 5%, 6%, whatever. Okay, what is the chance of you making $1 million next year, or everyone that you love will die? 70, 80, 90, 100%. It's the motivation behind it. Like, if something is worth your while, then you'll find the money for it.
Yeah. You'll find the time, you'll find the way.
100%.
So with also the kind of like the skills, I know like we've touched on AI, so that's kind of coming into the forefront of everywhere. What kind of would you say are the skills that are up and coming skills that maybe if somebody's looking to get into videography, how would they start, or what kind of areas are the focus areas of now and in the next few years that we can see?
I think twofold.
There's a theme here.
Yeah, I think the creative part has a different way of going. So big commercials at the moment for big brands, they invest a lot in these programmable robotic arms that have the camera on it, and you program the particular shot and it goes around and moves around. And so I can't even, years ago, if I tell you, if you want to be in corporate media production, you need to know a bit of robotics. Then you go, what the hell?
Yeah.
Whereas now creative stuff is a lot about those additional stuff. Can you work with a green screen or blue screen? Can you work with AI? Can you put enough prompts? Can you storyboard? In corporate stuff, a lot of it is down to storytelling. Yeah. So I see a lot of companies in my space, who they capture good shots. They're really, really good shots, but they're not strung together in a story. So if I'm not engaged, because if you want me to be engaged by pretty shots, then that's fine, but it also is not why I want to trust the company. Especially, I'm irked at events with this, so I'm not saying it has to be done this way, but if you're going to tell the story of an event, then show me the outside of the place, show me the inside of the place, show me the details of the things that people are preparing, show me the glasses being poured, then show me people coming in, then show them whatever, tell me the story of the night.
Yeah.
But if you start with people having fun and then the place is empty and then they're pouring the glasses, but we've already seen them dancing with the glasses, and then at some point you just go, it's pretty, but so what? I don't feel part of it.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to get into media production, be that creative or otherwise, I'd say probably learn to edit, because that's where the storytelling piece comes to mind.
Yes.
And by that I mean not necessarily, because you've got many programs, you've got CapCut, Premiere Pro, DaVinci, and they're all good for certain things.
Yeah.
But the editing is where all the shots come into play. Like if I have to clinically make a autopsy, if you will, any one of our projects, the shots are pretty. Not that they're easy, but it's simple to understand why they are the way they are. You want to show trust and show me a handshake. You want to show me, you tell me about the good. Actually, fairly good point to make here. In theatre ages ago, in Shakespearean times, it used to be tell, don't show. I take this dagger and I plunge it. Like, you literally narrate everything. Then cinema became show, don't tell, where with as little visual stuff as possible, tell me the story. I think corporate media, that's my opinion, of course, corporate media is a bit of both, show and tell, because you have to start of the place of mistrust. That sounds a bit weird to say, but for example, lawyers, accountants, insurance, they don't have a great reputation.
People are always skeptical, aren't they?
Right. So if you tell me we take care of our clients and I don't see a single client in your video, how much do you care about them, really? And you might do, but I don't see that. I see a lot of the two biggest missteps of other companies in our space that I see is, for example, 2-camera shot of the person, close up and a slightly wider shot with no other footage overlaid on top of it, which means that I don't know if I should trust any of what you're saying. You could just be an actor. Yeah. And the other thing is exactly that lack of storytelling. Tell me what I need to see. Show me in order to make me believe. So if someone's going to go into it, I don't think the quality is the thing you should be solving for to begin with. As in, don't necessarily say 40 grand for a camera. Because, partially it's what we teach as well. Majority of our training is around using, there's a couple of apps and some settings to be aware of, but using your phone and professional equipment, because your phone and professional equipment will take you so much further than an incredibly expensive camera with no equipment whatsoever. Yeah. So it's not so much of save thousands, otherwise you can't start. It's just focus on the storytelling aspect. If you can tell me a story, and I think there's an old Russian experiment in film where they would just cut from face of a man, bowl of soup, face of a man, bowl of soup, face of a man, bowl of soup. And then they'll ask the people, what does he feel? And he goes, he's hungry. Okay, let's try again. Face of a man, go. Face of a man, go. He's in love. Same face. Same face of the man. Face of a man.
But it's the same cutting to whatever.
Absolutely. Learn storytelling. That's the biggest thing. If you can storytell. Also, if you can storytell, you can be an influence. Daniel Priestley talks about that. Hugh Moses talks about that. Every big entrepreneur. If you can tell stories that captivate people, people will follow you.
I really, really loved, kind of off topic a little bit, the Adolescence TV show that was earlier this year. I think it was earlier this year, because it was an amazing story, a fantastic story, and it was a really powerful story that needed to be told. But how that was shot got so much attention because it was just one shot the whole way through. And I know there's a lot of going through windows that people are like, how have they done that? But it was so well shot that told that story very authentically because you were just following them around and then cutting through, especially the school scene where it was very impressive cinematography with so many extras and things like that. But it helped to tell that story 100%. In an impactful way.
I mean, look at it. There's the one sort of take has been one of the most immersive ways, because every time the camera cuts, there's a tiny little portion of you that gets reminded they're watching a film.
Yeah.
Like it's a different camera now. The more you can hold on a shot, which is why, funnily enough, in cinema there used to be saying motion creates emotion. So you have those moving shots rather than a static shot. You get to feel a lot more with them. You look at something like 1917, which is the First World War film.
Yes.
Also a single take. They had to, before they even, I think it was incredible, before they even dug the trenches, they would walk that distance with the actors and the camera to see exactly how long the trench should be dug out. I think those things are amazing, but exactly those side of that one shot technique is one of the, I mean, you won't see it much in corporate media, naturally. No. But Adolescence is a great example of this, 1917. Even in video games you see this. One of the most quoted as one of the best stories, if not the best story in video games, is the God of War games, which is a bit of an even further off topic. But the reason for it is there isn't a single cut in the game. Yeah. Everything goes seamless, from cutscenes to the fights to the battles to everything, and you just feel as being a part of this emotional journey.
Yes.
And that is the language of cinema. When you speak, I mean, you'll see a lot of this in our work. if I tell you, master one particular shot with a parallax, I think it's overused, sure, in a lot of times, but it's the moving shot that moves, that keeps your subject in the center, and then the background, the foreground moves around it. So more moving shots are really, really good idea regardless, but the parallax is the one that will go, use that. If you don't know any other shots that are moving, this is a good shot to learn.
And then to end on, is there a campaign that you've either been involved in or you've just seen generally that you just really think is brilliant?
Marketing as a whole or media?
Either. Can be your choice.
Marketing as a whole, I love Rory Sutherland.
Yeah.
He is chair of Ogilvy, I think, in the UK. And he talks a lot about campaigns that I'm aware of, but he brings more meaning to them. I think my favorite one must be, because his entire thing is obviously human behavior, the Overground story in London, where people, I think for me it's my favorite thing because it's a mass thing where people just wouldn't use the Overground, not because it wasn't helpful, but because they kind of have this idea in their head that effectively the tube map is how you get from a place to a place.
Yeah.
And yeah, they renovated obviously some of the bits on the Overground, but effectively what they did is they included the Overground map as part of the tube map. That very same day, usage of the Overground shot up by 400%. And it kept growing because people all of a sudden went, oh, this exists now. And I like campaigns that rejig how we think. I think to relate it slightly to us, actually another small bit of context before that, he speaks about the DoubleTree cookie. I don't know if they still do it. I think they do. But if you were to check in on a DoubleTree hotel, they actually have a cookie oven under the check-in desk. Yeah. So as you check in, you get a cookie. If a finance director looks at this and goes, "Who the hell asked for a cookie? Why are we doing this? Why are we spending so much time?" But people would remember the cookie. In our case, that was very important for client retention. So yes, I think having someone on retainer is a great idea.
Yeah.
But as it comes to an end, do you just expect them to go, cool, let's do another year? And I think, so the two things that we came up with, and they've been quite helpful. One, when clients are signing up, because we tend to be, I wear a suit, obviously, it's my dress down version with a wolf pin. All of my team wear suits with wolf pins because the uniformity, I think, matters. And also, when all of us walk in a suit, the client usually goes, wow.
Yeah, it's a first impression, isn't it?
Correct. And that kind of luxury, we want to almost build this as if it's a 5-star hotel service. Yeah. Like, same goes with all of our processes. Sorry, I know I'm kind of getting off it, but I'll get back, I promise.
Branding.
That is quite important for us to the point where, we firmly believe that if a client has to pick up the phone to us, who've not done our job, they need to know exactly what's happening at every one point. And when a client signs up, we send them this luxury hamper. So it's not Maltesers and Prosecco. It's a wine from this artisan place, and it's chocolate with truffles, actual truffle paste or whatever. It's these incredible selection of things that they literally cannot buy anywhere else. And I think it cost me about $5,000 per box.
Oh, okay, gosh.
It's a big thing. But every time someone's received something like this, we get calls, they take videos of it, they post it online.
Yeah.
And same goes for the end of the year. We make these video books that I'm really proud of them. That you basically on the front is, congratulations, first year with us. It's a picture of our entire team at the back. But as you open them, on the first kind of flap of the book is a video screen that starts playing immediately, and that's a highlight reel of everything we've shot for them throughout the year.
Oh, okay, that's really nice.
It just reminds them, because we might not have shot for them for the last couple of months, maybe we've just edited some bits and bobs, but this is everything that we've done, and then a little booklet and a little message and all that kind of stuff. So I think when we talk about campaigns, I think it's the things that make people emote. 90% of the time people buy on emotion rather than logic. So if I make them feel, and with that, with our videos, with our media that we do for them, if we make their audience feel, then we've done our job properly.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Michael. That was brilliant.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun.
Good. Thank you for watching. This was Marketing Monologues, and remember to watch, share and subscribe.